Hi, I'm Blake.
I'm Jamie.
And we're Blamie.
I guess so.
So today we're going to talk about the 3 things that I hated from the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Amazon video show, and 3 things you loved about it.
So kind of just background here. He knows the whole story. He knows what it's supposed to be like. He knows what it's based off of. He knows all of that. I do not. I went in blind. I vaguely remember a couple of the names, but I didn't have any expectations.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the first thing that I will note is there's a lot of redeemable things inside of this series. So first, we've watched the first episode. So I have not watched the second episode yet.
Yes, yeah.
We watched the first episode. So there's a lot of redeemable things. It's a beautifully shot and beautifully filmed. The special effects are
You're
great.
supposed to be saying things you don't like.
I will get to it.
Because...
Okay, sorry, are some of these yours? Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a lot of redeemable things. The thing that I dislike about it is it feels like this is number one. They took a setting and decided to put their own story into that setting, which is fine normally, except they took very defined characters within the Lord of the Rings lore and tried to use them to tell their story, as opposed to the story that actually happens with them. So I think actually this whole thing would have flown a lot better, flowed a lot better is what I want to say. Either way, things would have gone much better had they instead just picked a random elf, right? Random people to tell their story with, instead of trying to pick very definite and defined heroes that are throughout the Lord of the Rings lore. So that's my first critique of it.
Can I just say what one of mine is?
Yes.
Is that they used known characters.
You like that they used known characters?
I liked it because there was some connection to
sure,
time maybe. Well, time's relative because it's all centuries instead of a couple years like normal shows, I guess. So much time's passing. But I just like that there is some connection to Lord of the Rings and to Rings of Power.
Yep. Like the interesting thing though is I feel like they could have just had the connection be the ring.
You're right.
Right? Like
you're right.
That is the point. Sauron, the bad guy, could be the connection.
You're right. He could have totally worked. Maybe just because it's the first episode, though, some familiarity was nice.
Yep. And you see them lean into it, right? They invented a race of hobbits that didn't exist there.
Yeah.
They changed Galadriel's story almost in its entirety.
That's rough.
To try and make her the main character and into a warrior, when it's pretty clear that she probably never picked up a sword, and it actually kind of cheapens who Galadriel is, because she was known for her intellect and kind of presence. That was what her power was, not I'm a cool fighting sword person.
Yeah.
I mean, she was an elf. She probably would have been fine with a sword, but not in that same way, right? That's not how she fought. It also, just at the end of book 1, or the first episode, spoilers here, by the way, giant spoilers, spoiler warning, spoiler. The thing that I disliked is her going to Valinor and then choosing not to. What is happening is they're cheapening her story, where she was being punished and had to overcome the test of not taking the ring to be able to return there. And so that's a little annoying, because you kind of, by recreating this backstory that didn't actually exist, you're cheapening her story arc inside of Lord of the Rings itself. Which makes it far less of a compelling story, if you ask me.
Yes.
That instead she was just chilling for no reason there, instead of being exiled. So.
How sad. All right, was that your second then?
Yeah, that was my second.
All right, my second is, you kind of stole it a little bit, but it is beautiful. It's really pretty. But the actors, I'm really excited about.
They were good.
All of them. Some of them are really pretty, fun to look at, but not all of them are. Some of them are just...
Who's fun to look at?
Don't worry about it.
Elrond? No, it's the elf. I don't know the guy's name.
I don't know either. He was really cute. Plus, he has a little bit of a love story happening already, which is... You got me there.
Yeah, love stories. The way to her heart is a love story.
That actually seems like it's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
Anyway, the actors are great. And kind of... Some are really pretty, but others are just normal enough that you can relate to, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. And the filming's really pretty. The land. Ooh, what's really cool is the map turning into the land, or the map turning into the sea. It was really cool. I like how they did that.
Yep.
There was only one part, like when they were at the well. There was like zoomed up super close on their face, but I couldn't tell if it's just because we have a widescreen, why it was like cutting off half their face. I know that kind of drove me crazy, but the rest of the filming was really good.
Yeah, I agree. It was great. Which actually goes to the third thing that I disliked about it, because it is something that I liked. I actually really liked like the first 5 minutes of the show, where it's giving you the backstory of
The
things.
little kids.
Yeah, with the little kids and Galadriel being in Valinor and seeing them leave and the war with Morgoth and that.
Yeah.
One of my critiques is that they didn't flush out that story very much. Now, my understanding is they don't actually hold the rights to the entire Silmarillion to be able to share it.
Interesting.
And so they had to stick to stuff in the second age of Middle-earth. So they couldn't tell the first age stories. But the way they did it was good. I would love to get more and more of that backstory, because it really fills in why Galadriel's there and what's going on. Then again, they've also gotten rid of a bunch of that, of the Doom of Mandos, as it's called, and the Oath of Fëanor, and a bunch of those things. They got rid of all of that, so it takes away some of the tragedy that is Galadriel there.
Okay.
It also kind of gets rid, we haven't yet got to it, but when we get to Numenor, hopefully in the next episode, it's going to get rid of some of the value of where that came from. So maybe they will do more flashbacks and fill in more of this lore. But for someone coming in that knows a lot about it, I feel sorry for people that are jumping in that may not understand what's happening.
You feel sorry for me?
Sure, yeah. Huh. Like, because there's just a lot of backstory there that are missed. So, like, they had this brief mention of Elrond being half elven, right? And maybe they can play into that more later. But like the story of why he's half elven and how that worked and why he is where he is and who the king is and why he's the king and all of that process, I think would have been really interesting to fill in. And there's just such rich lore around Lord of the Rings that they feel like they breeze through in 5 minutes, and then to jump into the made-up plot that they're at, which again wouldn't be such a big deal if they didn't use established characters in a made-up plot. And I realize if you're using established characters, you're gonna have to flush out around them.
Right.
It's just the major plot points you probably don't want to change, and they've already changed that drastically with Galadriel.
Tricky.
They're doing a better job with Elrond, as far as I can tell. So we'll see how it goes. So this is our review
Wait,
of
I
episode
still have
1.
my last favorite thing.
You don't have any more favorite things.
I do.
Okay.
I just really love and really appreciate that this is happening. I feel like there's so many things where it's like, ooh, wouldn't this be cool? Oh, they should do this. Why don't they do this?
That's fair.
This is happening. And like, it's an actual show. It's for real, and people can experience it. And sure, there's rights issues and there's other issues, and it might not be perfect, but I think it's just fun to keep people talking and keep people engaged in such a wonderful world.
It's very true. And one of my hopes is that this is good enough that the rights to the first age stuff get used and exercised, and that they make some of those stories, because the stories of Beren and Luthien or Turin Turnabar or a bunch of others, the Unfinished Tales stories, all of those would be fantastic series to tell. Which is an interesting thing that Amazon decided to tell this story, because there are these well-defined, well-established stories that you could have done, and instead you're kind of making it up and condensing it. Like they're taking 3,000 years of history, trying to cram it into one lifespan and making it up. Whereas like there's real interesting stories that are more fleshed out, and maybe they'll get to those. I don't know.
Maybe they will. Maybe this is just one tiny little stepping stone.
Who knows? But regardless, the quality has been great.
Yes. Even the Clark Kent at the end.
Yeah, we're
landing from Superman.
We'll see who Meteor Man is. Any guesses on who you think that is?
It's gotta be Clark Kent.
It's gotta be. You know what? That would make the most sense out of everything in the lore. That makes the most sense, because there is nothing in the lore that makes any sense to describe Meteor Man.
That is so funny.
So Superman, yeah. I mean,
great.
It's the crossover event of the century.
Who needs Thor and all those other people?
Yeah, Superman in Lord of the Rings.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, well, I don't know. Are we gonna do the next episode, or maybe
we'll do one more after the next episode, maybe.
Okay. Cool.
Great.
Stay tuned.
Like and subscribe.
See ya.
Bye.